Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through your day, the crypto news and analysis, and today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as was the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, let's just dive on in. So listen, we have talked about it in the past, we've talked about it for a while. Scrutinization of crypto, utilizing regulatory connections, paying people off. Things like that. Like, there's been a lot of things that have happened around crypto for a while now, but there has been a hidden agenda behind a lot of the SEC's actions, and we've also seen a lot of those in power actually playing with the SEC a little bit and trying to kind of persuade them to go after certain projects or say certain things or do certain things, and this has been a trend for a while. Back in June, we've seen the question arise, what's the hidden agenda behind the SEC's? Well, first and foremost, let's go back in time a little bit. Let's go back to November of 2021, where we've seen letters between Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler being exchanged. We do see how lawmakers use letters to get their way, and again, like, these are people that have been working with regulators for a while. Don't know how much money is being tossed around, but I would assume that some people are getting paid off, but they are working together to push their overall agenda. We know that Elizabeth Warren, just like Brad Sherman, are two very, very large bankers that have been utilizing their stance in order to make and persuade decisions regarding some of these markets like crypto, and the question is, what do they want? Well, at the end of the day, they want control, right? They don't want retail making a ton of money off of crypto. It's just the same thing with stocks, right? With the stock market. The stock market is extremely regulated, but guess what else it is? Manipulated and controlled. That's what they want to do around crypto as well. Why do you think that BlackRock all of a sudden, and all these incumbents and these massive institutions, are now jumping on crypto? Well, first off, crypto has been slowed and halted, and it's all because of what the SEC has been doing, right? XRP is one of those tokens that have been, in my opinion, extremely suppressed for a very long time, and it's also one of the biggest threats to the traditional banking sector. But outside of all of this, the biggest thing that I have a problem with is people like Elizabeth Warren bringing up and talking about ridiculous things regarding crypto. We recently just seen, going back to October 10th, a Wall Street Journal article get posted, and this is Thomas militants behind Israel attack raise millions in crypto. This is absolutely ridiculous. When we look at the amount of money that was actually raised through this, it's not nearly as much as the Wall Street Journal is making out to be. We also know, which I will get to here in a second, that they actually asked for donors to stop sending Bitcoin, which we will get to that here in a second, like I said. But first, check this out. October 24th, 2 days ago, we're talking about roughly 14 days, 2 weeks, after the Wall Street Journal article, Elizabeth Warren uses Amos as her newest scapegoat in war on crypto. These are false claims. They are trying to attack crypto in every way possible, and we know that this is all nonsense, and yes, her as well as 100+ lawmakers are urging Biden to address the crypto finance terrorism, but they will never bring up how the fiat dollar and fiat currencies have been dominating around the world within acts of terrorism, drugs, violence, you name it. Fiat currencies have always funded illegal use of money for a very long time, and it's also funded a lot of problems that we see now today with drugs and violence, but they will never talk about that. They only talk about crypto. But what's crazy about all of this, right? Like, for example, here we have a few things. One, the Treasury Department has sanctioned a Hamas-linked wallet, as Politico reports that crypto's role in financing Hamas activity has emerged as a hot issue for lawmakers. The sanctioned wallet has $16 in it and made its last transfer 18 months ago. That's right, $16. I mean, this is ridiculous. We will continue to take all steps necessary to deny Hamas terrorists the ability to raise and use funds to carry out atrocities and terrorize the people of Israel. This is Janet Yellen. That includes by imposing sanctions and coordinating with allies and partners to track, freeze, and seize all Hamas-related assets in their jurisdictions. But they're talking about how crypto has played this dominant role, but we actually know that's been a very, very small player around this. It's played a relatively tiny role. We actually see here that the US or the United Nations spent nearly $4.5 billion in Gaza from 2014 to 2020, including $600 million in 2020 alone, even as Hamas reportedly turned European Union-funded water pipelines into homemade rockets. And they've talked a little bit more about this, but one of the major players, the Wall Street Journal, was one of them, but also Elliptic was another one that actually talked a little bit about this. Now, why is this concerning? Because one, we know that Elizabeth Warren as well as many other players have been trying to get this bill passed. This bill will essentially kill crypto. It's an anti-crypto bill essentially. But we know that this report has been completely debunked. We've gone over this by Sam Lyman actually. He put out a report saying critical context missing from the Wall Street Journal piece on Hamas and crypto. In April of this year, Hamas warned its donors to stop sending Bitcoin. Why? Because the transparent nature of the blockchain had Western intelligence following their every transaction like bloodhounds, hence the sudden drop on the chart. There's a reason money laundering via Bitcoin has been called a classically dumb crime. It shines a spotlight on everyone involved. Remember this as the usual suspects ramp up their anti-crypto rhetoric in the weeks to come. You know what's crazy about all of this though? They never and I'm not talking about Sam Lyman. I'm actually talking about just regulators and people like that. Like they never mentioned Silk Road. For those that don't know, Silk Road was fully tracked and traced. They knew who was getting paid. They tracked it all the way down to the T. And we already know that Ross is still serving life in prison today. The reason why I bring this up is because they constantly act like Bitcoin transactions can't be tracked. We know that Bitcoin can be tracked. We know that all crypto payments can be tracked heavily. So what do you honestly think that they're using to fund these operations? Do you think that they're actually using crypto? No, they are using fiat. But these politicians, they want to push this agenda that crypto is utilized for this, crypto is utilized for that. And you know what's funny about this? I shouldn't even say it's funny. It's really not. A lot of people will miss out on investing into crypto because they actually think that it's a scam and a fraud and it's utilized for this and that. But these people don't actually think about it. What has funded drug operations forever? What has funded half of the things that we have in this world that is completely daunting fiat currencies? I say this because one, these people want to push this agenda to get their point across, and their point is they want to essentially kill crypto or at least fully regulate the hell out of it so that they can control it. So they will push any agenda possible. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And a few people have been speaking out about this. For example, one of those players is